Good afternoon, Year 9. Okay, so today we're not learning anything new. We're trying to put everything together. So your homework's going to be to practice everything to do with all the index laws that we've done. So I'm just going to go through a few of the harder ones at the end of this exercise. So if you look at this first one, it's m to the power of minus 6 divided by m to the power of 5. So we're involving a negative index with a division as well. So when you have negative indices, do not try to cancel down or cross out in the fraction form. Okay, so you can't just cross out so many m's on the top and the bottom. Okay, so we're going to look at this as a division with the same base. So we keep our base and we subtract our indices. So we have minus 6 minus 5. That gives you minus 11 up there. So now, once we've got that answer, we're going to rewrite that in the fraction form that we learned last lesson with the negative indices. So that minus sign turns into a fraction bar. And all of this m to the 11 falls below the fraction bar. That leaves nothing on the top, so you have to write a 1 up there. Okay, they get a little bit harder. So on this one here, that's the question they've given you. We're going to do this bit the way we always do it. So just put that in your fraction key on your calculator, 64 over 16, and it will give you 4. Now over here with the indices, I said we can't do any crossing out, so we're just going to look carefully at this. The fraction bar means divided by, so we are doing our index rules with division, which is subtract your indices. So over here I've written down exactly what we're subtracting. I suggest you do the same because it's really easy to get mixed up with all the negatives. Okay, so it says minus 1, minus 2. And if you put that in your calculator, you'll get minus 3, and that'll tell you the index up there. So now we're going to get our answer and write it with replacing the little minus in the index with the fraction bar. So we're going to keep our 4 here. Just make sure it's up the top of the fraction, near the top. This bit, the minus sign turns into a fraction bar. The base and the index fall below the fraction bar. Now we're going to slide it together, push this over the top, and it becomes 4 over p cubed. The next one was given to you like that. We're writing it as a fraction. So it's 48q over 3q to the minus 2. Put this in your fraction key on your calculator, and you'll get 16 for the front part. Now we're over into our indices. We know when we're dividing, we're going to subtract our indices. So this time we have 1 minus 2. So write it down, put it in your calculator, and it will give you a 3, and that's the index on your cube. Next one, same thing. Put the 5 over 10 in your fraction key on your calculator, and you'll get a half. Then the same thing over here, we're subtracting our indices. So it's 3 minus 1. Write it down, put it in your calculator, and you'll get a 4 on the top of the t. Push these two things together into one fraction bar, and on the top you're going to have 1t to the 4 over 2. But we don't need the 1, so we can cross that out. T to the 4 over 2 is your answer. Number 5, this is the question. One of our index rules tells us if you've got an index inside and outside a bracket, you multiply them. So we're going to do minus 1 times 4. You can use your calculator for that part, and you'll get a minus 4 there. So now we're looking at this question. Leave your 2. We're going to do what we normally do with our b to the minus 4. So I'll just remind you, I'll put it over here. Turn the minus into a fraction bar. The b to the 4 falls below the line. We don't need to write a 1 up the top here yet, because when we push these together, the 2 is going to slide over there. So it's going to push into there. And that's your answer, 2 over b to the 4. The last one we're doing is this one up the top here. So the whole thing is in a bracket. So we've got the bracket to the power of minus 2. So if you look at it over here, the whole bracket is your base. And we've got it to the power of -2. So we're going to take the negative, turn it into a fraction bar. The base and the index fall below the fraction bar. So don't forget, the whole of the bracket 3h is your base. So all of that falls below the fraction bar. So on the bottom we have bracket 3h bracket squared. And on the top there's nothing up there, so we'll write the 1 up there. Now, the last part, everything in the bracket has to be raised to the power of 2. So 3 squared, you can do that part on your calculator and you'll get 9. And then we also have to write h squared. And that's the end of the question. So good luck with your homework. Practice makes perfect. Make sure you do it all.